All right. Live button's coming up. Says we're live. Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Another college football roundtable. We got 5 men this time, as my buddy Tyler, who you guys have seen on the channel a few times before. He was actually here. The last time Tyler was here was when it was before Alabama lost to LSU last year. And Tyler is now back to celebrate his national championship victory last night over the Ohio State Buckeyes. But we're going to kind of recap the season, talk a little bit about last night, get everybody's insights on Steve Sarkisian to Texas. As everybody, we've been talking about that just amongst our friends group, and then we're going to end up with a few fun little debates about Texas A&M and about 2019 LSU versus 2020 Bama. Before I hand it over to Tyler so he can gloat and score celebrate, or however Tyler wants to handle it, I do want to say this. Y'all know what attendance is. And as people are hitting that, hitting in and getting in here, make sure you smash that like button. Show us some love. We really appreciate all you guys that have continued to help us. These lives continue to, that's why we like doing them. The support and the growth of the channel is unmatched, and we feel it. So, Tyler, congratulations
Thank you, buddy.
to the Crimson Tide, man. Take it away, man. Day later, 24 hours. Did you get any sleep last night? How you feeling?
I did. You know what? I thought I was going to be up all night watching all this shit, and then I started crashing about 11:30. I'm an old man now, so that's what happens. But thanks for having me on, man. And yeah, last
Absolutely.
time I was on here, I didn't get to follow it up with old Billy Morrow. Uh, how they kind of took it to us. LSU took it to us last year. This year, new season. um, I can't say enough about how satisfying of a season it was to have a lot of upperclassmen come back for their senior years. Not only were they missing out on potential money, but then you had COVID hit,
Right.
and you had players around the nation opting out. Not with Alabama. Everyone chose to have a singular focus on winning a national championship, and you saw it play out. And even the heroic finish of you see Jalen Waddle, and that's another debate we could have later. Should he even play it? But you have guys like that are laying it all on the line just to get a part of this, be a part of this team. You have Dickerson, towards ACL 3-4 weeks ago. He's out
Yep.
there taking the final snap. I mean, it was just a big team effort all year, and I think they accomplished a hell of a lot, and couldn't be happier.
For Dickerson, I think it was dope. He got to go out there for the coin toss, right?
Yeah.
And I like the fact that he suited up, and then they let him go in the game at the end. I think that was like a really cool way to go out. I remember when he went out on the stretcher in the Florida game, and the whole damn team ran out there. So you have to be impressed with that whole thing. Guys, Jalen Waddle, should he have played? Because this has been a hot button topic today. Who wants to weigh in on that one? Translators, hell
No,
no.
I'll say this.
no.
There's no way, in my opinion, Jalen Waddle absolutely should not have played. But he cooked Sean Wade at like 60%. Just smooth, ran a great route on him.
He's
Now it's just like,
hopping on
wow.
one leg, cooked it up.
Right. Right. Yeah, I was impressed by that. But yeah, I wouldn't have. It wasn't. I understand the Lord playing a title, like national title game. That's something that not a lot of people get to do, but he shouldn't have played.
I wouldn't have told him no. I don't know. That's just me. The young man wants to go out there and record a couple stats in a national championship game. I know his future's on the line, but to me that's between him and the medical staff and whatever they came up with. I was a little queasy when he was limping off on the side, after every catch. But I don't know. That's a tough one.
No, I get that if it's up to him. Like if he says,
I
"Yeah, I'm
understand.
ready to go," but at some point when the first play of the game when he ran off the field, just hopped off the field. I think at that point, as a receivers coach, is like, "Hey, we got this." They can't
I
guard
thought he was
anyone.
out.
Like
I thought that was it.
Should have been that's it.
I think that it was kind of one of those things. He's probably, in practice, even, cutting has probably been, 20, 30 times at a much lesser speed, and he's cutting really hard in the championship game. And so it kind of, the reaction's there. But going back to the point, I guess for me personally, it's like, I have a problem telling anybody, and I believe that Jalen Waddle is educated on the situation. He understands that the money involved. And if they spoke with the parents and he decided as a man that he wants to play, that I think I have no right to tell him you're wrong or you're right, just because that's what he wants to do in that situation. And like, that's his teammates, and you're playing with these people, and you give a damn. And obvious reasons, like Tyler said, that's why I won the national title. And pretty simple to see that. So I think it's up to him personally if he decides it, and that's how you roll. I mean, that's what I would do at least.
I know that there's going to be some coaches in the league. There's scouts that are not necessarily upset with Jalen Waddle, obviously, but like, hey, it was a little irresponsible that he played, blah, blah. But I think there's going to be guys in the league when they evaluate him that are going to say, oh, that's a tough guy.
Yep.
That's a guy who will play hurt and try to come back, because, some of these dudes get hurt and they'll go straight to the IR and just sit there. And he's one of those guys, like, took his rehab seriously, really practice, because the rumors about Waddle coming back have been around for a minute. It's not something that just popped up. Like, he's been working. And you can see one of the things for me is like watching him on the sidelines the last few weeks with his teammates. He is so engaged. Like, I look at him and I'm like, you love football. Like, that's clear to me. Like, you really love football. So I think it's tough, like, to Billy's point, but at the same token, when you're talking about that much money on the line, there's things you got to weigh. And if he did that, he's a smart kid. We can move forward. Tyler, out of all these guys on Alabama, because eventually I want to make my way over to your former offensive coordinator, our new head coach, Steve Sarkisian. But out of all these guys, Sark after dark. I think it's really impressive how he was able to utilize all those guys as playmakers. And I think Mac Jones deserves a lot of credit. Just in terms of all season, can you speak on that in terms of the utilization and what maybe we can expect to see here in Austin with our football team, with how you guys were able to feed everybody?
Yeah, I mean, whenever Jalen Waddle went down, that was a big moment in the season, for the team, for Sark, for Mac Jones, for everybody to kind of man up and see, how can we keep this momentum of this offense. And then you see guy right away, Mechie had, like, I want to say 160 yards in that first game. Then you see guys like Billingsley stepping up. I mean, there was just, there was an endless amount of weapons. And, I think the creative play calling, that's something that will continue for Texas. And we can get into it a little bit later. I'm more concerned with Sark about his leadership qualities that would make for a head coach. We know what he can do as offensive coordinator. That the head coaching part, we haven't seen him succeed at that yet. So hopefully he learned a lot from Saban. It looked like he did and matured a little bit. So, thinking positively, hopefully he's learned there.
Right. So, Tran, I wanted to get your thoughts just as we transition over to that, right? So Sark has his presser today.
Yep.
And, just some of the things he's learned from Nick Saban, some of the things he's learned from Pete Carroll, how he's evolved as a coach, as the evolution of football. I think that's something that we've talked about a lot. Just wanted to kind of get your thoughts there, as we kind of transition, because eventually I want to get into some of the bowl recaps too with some of these guys.
So if we're talking specifically about his presser, it's going to be cut and dry. It's going to be him answering pretty softball questions. Nothing really difficult on. He's not going to come in there and say, "Yeah, they're paying me a lot of money, so that's why I came." He said what needed to be said. He was very humble in his approach. He wasn't like Tom Herman and said, "Of course I'm ready. If you're not ready."
Oh yeah, pressure. If you don't feel pressure,
if you don't feel pressure, you're just not ready. Well, he was very humble. He was talking about me failing so young allowed me to go reevaluate myself and look directly at myself on what I needed to do. Then I kind of stuck myself to really great coaches, and I got to see their perspective. There, and then he went into Pete Carroll's. His personality, how he's the most energetic guy on the field, and then you have the exact opposite, Nick Saban, who's very cut and dry, but he's evolved throughout even the small amount of time that he's known him. Just being able to take other people's opinions and focus it to a common goal of that's winning. It's going to be
absolutely.
It's going to be all hard work, and that's where he kept on going back to is what's the saying? Something all gas right now, or
all
whatever.
Gas, no brakes.
Yeah, all gas, no brakes. So.
Now the chat's gonna get flooded with all gas, no brakes.
So,
and those of you who are in the chat, we appreciate it. Hit that like button. We're over at I think 150 people right now. Appreciate y'all. Brandon, so you were the one that called this, sir. You called this on whenever our last live chat was. I think it was like the last week of the regular season, and the chat had asked you and Billy if y'all could pick a coach for Texas. Billy said Billy Napier of Louisiana, and you said Sark. Month later, why did you say? Because I think we talked about Billy Napier. We never really came to you about why you even said Sark. So
I'm not gonna lie, I felt a little dismissed at that point in time, but hey, we're back now. We're here.
I thought I said Luke Fickell, but you can put.
You did not say Luke Fickell. You said Billy Napier.
He said Fickell and Napier actually.
He said we should keep an eye out on Napier.
Okay,
that's what he said.
All right, my bad.
Yeah, let's get the. Also, Tyler was on the show more than the Alabama game. I think he was on the preview too or something last year, I believe.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Billy's like, let's get the facts straight.
Show. I'm sorry. Yeah,
No. I want Brandon to say why he said
straight.
Yeah, I mean,
how did you have the inside scoop, my friend?
I just looked into my crystal ball first of all, and it just told me Sark. But now, digressing there, it just seemed, when I was looking at the issues at Texas and looking at someone who might can step in and kind of fill some of those cultural issues. I mean, you look at a tree like Saban. I mean, that's what he's treating. I mean, look at the factory that he's building at Alabama. Why wouldn't you want someone from that tree? He has prior head coaching experience. So hopefully he has matured and developed more as a human, more as a leader, more as a head coach. And I mean, we all see what he can do as a play caller. Like that's not even up for debate or question. But for me, with this hire, it's now, hey, we know he's calling plays. We know he's the head coach. Let's look at the other side of the ball. What's he going to do on defense? Who's going to be the DC? What's that staff going to look like? Is it going to be like Notre Dame when they had Charlie Weiss score 49, give up 50? I mean, what does that look like? But I think it's a great hire. I hope it works out well for you guys. I mean, maybe that'll cause these boosters to get us going again if we're both having success on the field. So, yeah, it's a good hire. It just seemed like a good fit, just given the circumstance of the Texas culture and someone who could step in and probably make a difference. And to me, he's the opposite of Tom Herman.
Billy, thoughts?
I agree. I mean, I think when you look at Sark, he's been at big time programs too, which I think you check boxes. Like he understands how to handle boosters. He understands. Because that's when USC was still, halfway on the back end of relevancy, I guess. Washington, he built that program up, really. I mean, they were at nothing when he took over. He's
literally
done some good.
They were 0-12.
0-12. Yeah. So I think he's done some things, and he knows how. And he's not, he's not taking on a program that's 0-12. He's taking on a program that has a foundation with some talent on the field. Okay, so that's a start. That's another box. Plus, I feel like he kind of re-educated himself. He's like, all right, I need to go. If I'm going to learn, you can't fault the man from learning from the best. So he goes to, Nick Saban. He's offensive coordinator. He kills it. And I do believe that individuals and people and humans, they have the opportunity to rebuild their character and reshape their lives. And he has this opportunity. And I think it's a good hire. It's quality. I think he's going to be able to recruit. His name is known already. I think it's respected. And he could just put the film on from last night if you really wanted to, because that was nice. That was impressive. And I like it. You got to like it as a Texas. I think you're going to steal some recruits now, possibly from Oklahoma. You're going to be in a little bit bigger of a fight with them more. I like it. I think I think you're in good shape moving forward. I think you bring some added toughness to the program where, I don't know, like Brandon said, it's the opposite of Herman, and I agree. So you gotta like it. I think you gotta commend whoever made the decision, and not to mention your basketball team is number four in the country with the same coach. So there's some good decisions been made.
I'm glad you brought that up, because our athletic director, Chris Del Conte, said something today that we kind of heard behind the scenes, but kind of got confirmed about them condensing their search committee. And it was essentially 3 people. It was the school president, it was the chairman of the Board of Regents, and Chris Del Conte himself. And they really honed in and locked down all the outside noise after the Urban Meyer stuff. Because let's be real, the Urban Meyer stuff was getting embarrassing in a lot of ways. It was getting toxic. It was, and you see kind of what's going on right now with the Jacksonville Jaguars, where he's starting to cause drama there now too, and all that. And that's what Urban does. But it was also Texas, and people getting over, anxious and all this type of stuff, and, people picking sides. And I think the way that they did this and the way that they conducted their search committee and took their time and vetted people and went and talked to Pete Carroll, went and talked to other NFL guys and found their way to Sark, I think that's the right way to do it. And Texas has really struggled with that in the past, even going back to when they got Charlie Strong and they kept getting told no, and they're going down this list and they're struggling to fill the hire and be a collective unit, behind the scenes. I think they've really honed in on that. And I do give Chris Del Conte credit for that, for controlling the atmosphere after things got noisy with Urban Meyer. Now, guys, I want to looking forward to 2021, because, as a Texas fan, I feel like, all right, I have new breath. Tyler, do you still think y'all should be ranked number 1, 2021 opening poll? Y'all were wire to wire number 1 this year. I just want to kind of get a feel for where everybody feels like they fall, because I'm starting to see the way too early top 25s for 2021, and I just want to get everyone's opinion there.
I'm a firm believer in every year the reigning national championship team should be number 1 the next season.
Why?
Period. Because you're on top. I know it's a new year, but you got to start somewhere, right? Until you lose, shouldn't you be number 1? Now, as far as how do I feel about our team coming into next year, that's a different story for me. We're going to lose a hell of a lot, much like LSU did, last year. It's going to be tough breaking in a new quarterback, new receivers, new running back for the most part, losing some offensive line, losing defensive line. It's going to be tough. New offensive coordinator. I mean, there's so many variables there. Alabama does tend to always be there in the end, which has been, that's credit to Nick Saban. So hopefully he can keep that train rolling. But, there's a lot of questions there.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you guys. You mentioned new offensive coordinator. Are you excited? Are you excited about Bill O'Brien? Because this smells like when I told Billy about Scott Linehan. And now here y'all go with the Bill O'Brien. And I know all these coordinators have been A1 under Saban, but what's your level of concern when it comes to Bob? Can you answer that for me, Tyler?
Oh, buddy. Well, I'm not a fan personally, but you know what? Like you said, all these guys have ended up excelling for Nick Saban, and they're all, less than reputable human beings when they come in there. Lane Kiffin, Sarkisian, these guys they're excelling in this role. I didn't like the Lane Kiffin hire. I didn't like the Sarkisian hire. So I'm not going to doubt Nick Saban. So whoever he picks, I'll have faith in. Now, it does seem like we always get a a turd of a human being to come coach for us.
I was going to say
like
that.
he's trying to say, how unlikable can we be? So in that regard, no, I do not like Bill O'Brien. But if he's the guy, he's the guy.
Yeah. Saban absolutely is a soup kitchen for shitty coaches.
But hey,
he nurses them back to health, and then it's like, go be someone.
sends them on their way.
Hey, but
right?
another name that I heard tossed around was Adam Gase, and now I'm hearing he might be the.
I'm happy about this, and I
Eagles.
endorse this as a Cowboys fan. I endorse that.
If Adam Gase ends up in the NFC East with the Philadelphia Eagles, oh my goodness!
As a Cowboys fan, I would love it.
Yeah. You get rid of Doug Peterson for Adam Gase? Right. Sign me up for that, please.
I will just chime in and say that what Nick Saban is doing at Alabama, as far as just the culture and the productivity he does as a Alabama football team unit, like, I would co-sign with Tyler that whatever he decides, it's hard to go against. I mean, even with next year, you're losing a lot, but just like Mac Jones this year, you had a 3-year, person waiting in the wings for 3 years. You're going to have that at various positions at Alabama, and they're all top recruits. I mean, that's just what they've been doing. So I do kind of see a drop off just because like you said, you're losing a lot of productivity, but I don't think it would be as significant as LSU's last year, or hell, I don't think it's going to be as significant as us next year, losing 3 offensive starters on offensive line. But yeah, I just wanted to chime in and say that that program is just, you guys, Clemson, what you're doing, that's what you're creating a standard that I want to add him to be at.
Candace said, "I'm ready for Jay Witt to let loose." I'm ready to see Jordan Whittington get loose on some of those orbit motions and all those cool things y'all were doing with Devontae Smith. And I mean, the fact that the brother was able to get so wide open in red zone that's high level play design and play calling. And that's what I'm excited to see our guys in space. People like Jordan Whittington, people like Jake Smith, people like Bijan Robinson,
Mary, we haven't seen him.
Yeah, we haven't even seen. Yeah, exactly. Troy Mary. So as a Texas fan, some of these names that are being brought up,
Jared Wiley.
Let's go. He's going to be able to maneuver these guys. So I'm on board with the whole Jay Witt, and Jay Witt finished the season healthy. So hey, we got a dub on our cap there. Finished the bowl game. Brandon, speaking of bowl games,
what he does with Wiley.
I
got a comment about Bill O'Brien.
We got a Bill O'Brien comment. Go ahead.
I will say this. He's not the general manager for Bama, so he'll probably be okay. Okay. I mean, the guy can coach ball. It's not like they weren't good. He just doesn't know that you can't trade the best receiver in the league for peanuts. I mean, he doesn't understand that. So, he probably is a good fit as the offensive coordinator. I mean, Saban knows what he's doing. Those guys, they're going to listen. They're going to talk. They're professionals. And Saban has instilled that in these guys. And Bill O'Brien kind of needs to refocus. I mean, he went off the deep end there, a couple trades. And, I can't go against Saban. We've learned that lesson.
Couple trades, and he also pissed off. Didn't he piss off J.J. Watt?
And Deshaun Watson.
And Deshaun,
when you make those trades,
of
course you're going to piss everybody off.
Yeah. So let's not leave him to recruit it for you guys.
Yeah. I mean, it's still he's still a guy that was an offensive coordinator for Tom Brady. So if you can coach for Belichick, you can coach for Saban, in my opinion.
And he was a serviceable coach.
He did good at
Penn State. Yeah. So I mean,
you're
gonna be fine.
He convinced people that Christian Hackenberg could play. You remember him?
Oh yeah, they thought he should
May
be the first pick in the draft or something. Yeah.
You remember that guy?
Hey, what about? I got a question. You mentioned, I haven't mentioned it, but Tyler and I have had this discussion for now going on a year and a half. Whenever Mac Jones entered the fray after Tua got hurt. And going into this year, a lot of people were thinking that the little guy was going to start over him And me and Tyler were like, no chance. I mean,
Bryce Young?
there's no chance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I said no chance, in my opinion. You can ask Tyler, but we
I
discussed it.
got to
What-
give credit to Billy on that one. He's one of the few, most people I talk to kind of outside of the situation thought Jones was the guy, or it was just a matter of time before, he was the guy. And Young, but I saw what I needed to see last year in that Auburn game. Even though he threw, 2 pick sixes, one of them, both of them huge and costly, but he stood in there and took some major hits and threw some major throws and had, over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in a huge game, rivalry game. Then he goes out and beats Michigan. I mean, I saw what I needed to see last year. And to me, there was no competition coming in. It was his team. And it was all just noise that it was going to be the quarterback competition.
He put up, 45 in the Auburn game? Didn't y'all, it was like 48, 45 or what?
He had a hell of a game.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from
Yeah.
2 throws, he had a hell of a game.
Yeah.
That
And
pick
then,
6 to Najee in the flat was just, it was behind, but it was also unfortunate because if Najee doesn't tip that, it's not a pick 6.
Right.
They also don't
Good
let him
call,
kick
Brandon.
that field goal. You're in good shape anyways, right before halftime.
Yeah.
so,
No, I was
I mean,
saying, what I was
go
leading
ahead,
to,
Billy.
Steve and Strain and Brandon, I want the Cowboys to draft Mac Jones at the 11th spot.
That
And
early?
hear me out. Hear me
that
out.
early?
I don't think it's early. I think it's a good spot. I think he was the best quarterback in the nation this year, and it might have been by a chunk. I think that teams that don't have to pay the quarterback so much money, considering we're a team that paid our running back, a receiver, and a DN a ton of money, is it better structurally moving forward, and it's just my thoughts, to draft someone at the 11th spot? I do believe he's mature. He knows how to handle talent. He knows how to get the ball to him. His decision making, he will go through his reads very quickly. Does it fit our needs? Is that too high? Quick question about the Cowboys, but think about what I was saying. That's what kind of makes some sense to me, but I want to ask you boys.
I think we really need defense and also offensive line. I feel like Dak is going to get healthy, and I think we have Dak for one more year, right?
No.
Yeah,
No, we have to franchise him.
No, we have to franchise.
We'll
We'd have to,
franchise.
if we don't sign him, we have to
Yeah.
franchise tag him.
Which he won't complain about. That would be like 70 mil in 2 years.
I am
Yeah.
really nervous if this is the offensive line that he'd be behind.
I agree with that.
They'll get Lael Collins back, should get Martin back.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah,
with that.
but
Lyle
if
is going to be a big.
If they get hurt too, again this year, I mean, the depth after that is awful.
I personally, to go back to Billy's question, I don't feel as strongly about Mac Jones as a prospect as you do. I think he's played himself into being a first round pick. But in the NFL today, even as well as he manipulates the pocket, and he's one of the best I've seen in college as a pocket passer, the game is changing towards mobility still. And he does all the quarterback things well, but there's still going to be some things he'll have to learn and get better at, even at the NFL level. Do I trust? I like the fact that Dak and Kellen Moore have the relationship that they have. And the Cowboys doubling down on Kellen Moore, to me, means that eventually they're going to double down on Dak Prescott. And you can't underestimate the fact that Dak Prescott is the leader of that entire team. Of that, like, he is the one that sets the culture there. So I don't know what type of impact. Like, look at Ezekiel Elliott, how he looked after 4 left.
Yeah.
He's different football player. So I think from a culture standpoint, I like Mac Jones. We were actually talking about that last night, and I think I'd want to see him end up on a playoff team, like one of these good teams where he is going to take over for like a Breeze or a Brady or somebody like that. That's kind of more where I see it. I know we disagree on that, Billy, but I mean, I still think that at some point you're still going to have to make evaluations whether you pay your quarterback or not. to make the right evaluations on defense. Like the Ravens always seem to find some random linebacker that they don't have to pay that can play. How do they always able to find all these people that they're not paying? And the Cowboys, we pay all our linebackers.
Talent evaluation.
I mean,
Talent evaluation.
It's like, here's what we need, and we go find. But then just to quickly chime in, I think 11 is too high personally. I will say that he did probably play himself into a first-round pick, Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, just with all the needs around, and to Steve's point, we have Dak, we have that leadership at that position. 11 is just too high for, in my opinion, to take that risk.
Are we 11 or 10?
Tyron Smith.
Are we picking 10? I thought we were picking 10.
10. Yeah, it's either 10
or whatever.
or 8.
Whatever it is. I think it's whatever the pick is.
Yeah, whatever the pick is. But also, you got to look at Tyron Smith. I mean, that's our all-world left tackle who's probably
he's
on his
getting
way
old.
out. We have so much to replace our defensive backs. I mean, at 11 from Alabama, I probably prefer Patrick Surtain II to Mac Jones at 10 or 8 or whatever our pick is.
You know what's interesting, Brandon, to add to that? I do think at a certain point in this draft's going to be very interesting with the quarterbacks, because to Billy's point, it's going to be about preference with some of these teams.
Yeah.
Like we may think that it's
look, he's got the talent around him. He's played with talent. We got 3 good receivers. The tight end comes back. We got running backs. Like this fits him. It's all about footwork. If he can have good footwork, Tom Brady is a monster this year again. Nobody wants to say it. A monster. It's footwork.
But he's not Tom Brady though.
You got talent.
But I could also see Mac in Indy or Tennessee. He goes to Indy. He has the same thing. Great defense. They can run the ball. Tennessee.
Right.
I mean, if he sits behind Tannehill for a couple of years, I can see both of those teams being great spots for him.
And I think there's certain teams where Justin Fields is a better fit for what that team may need. If they need somebody to have more mobility, they don't have the same type of wide receivers. Tyler, you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Y'all need a quarterback. I mean,
that's what's going to happen. The Saints or Steelers are going to
like some of these teams,
good, and I'm going to be pissed.
Hey, I'd be
we
happy.
should have got Justin Fields. No, get his ass. He knows how to win. Let's go. Shit, yeah. Go ahead, Tyler. Sorry, I'm off my soapbox.
No, I'd be happy with that pick. But we need offensive line to protect him too, though. So.
All right. Well, it's going to be interesting. This, I think everyone's top 5. Like, if you look at even what McShay's been talking about, I think he has Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Fields, Lance, Jones, or I think he moved Jones ahead of Lance, because Trey Lance has played 1 year of college football at North Dakota State, and
people are this year.
They love him.
They love him.
They love him. He played 1 game this year, and it wasn't even that good of a game.
Showcase game.
He didn't look great.
It was great with his legs. It was with his arm.
Yeah. So I think there's going to be people like Billy that value quarterback play from the pocket, value the distribution traits as a quarterback, and have those natural leadership skills, and may have Mac Jones as their second or third quarterback, and maybe move down Zach Wilson or Justin Fields. I think it's going to be pretty subjective, kind of like the 2018 quarterback class was, where we had 5 guys go in the first round, right? And we have look at the AFC right now. 3 of the 4 teams are led by quarterbacks from the 2018 class that will be playing this weekend. So, it's very, very subjective.
Think Justin Fields is going to come back?
No, I think Fields got to go.
Yeah.
Even if he falls to the mid first round, I still think I think he goes.
I don't see how he can improve his money.
Oh, he can improve his money. He ain't gonna be a top 5 pick. He can be.
I don't even think if he came back, he would be a top 5 pick.
I don't either. Well, that's a whole different discussion. I'm with you, B. That's a whole different discussion. Yeah.
Guys, we got 230 in here and 130 likes. Hit the like button. Some of y'all have not checked in. 230 people in here. 100 of y'all are freaking chilling. Hit that like button. Show us some love.
Man, what's your thoughts on the dude from BYU?
Zach Wilson?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's a gamer. I mean, I think he's got a very strong arm. I think he's small, and I think if he tries to do that crap in the NFL, he's going to get lit up. So he better learn how to slide,
Right.
or
Body,
not run
I
the way
think-
he's running.
Go
I
ahead,
think
Brandon.
he's a smaller. I think he's a more football intelligent Baker Mayfield. Just a winner. I mean, very athletic, has a good arm, but that's when I see a comparison in the league right now. I see just more intelligent Baker Mayfield. So to me, it's fit. Where does he go? Is it a good fit for him or not? I mean, they try to change what he's good at, and have him
laughing
mold to
at-
what they want to do. What's that?
I'm laughing at the chat right now
Yeah.
because Tracy,
Baker.
Tracy, well, the Baker comp is actually, I don't mind the Baker comp. I think that's
I like
actually a
it.
good
I think
explanation. Tracy's like, there's never been a good Ohio State quarterback in the NFL. I guess Joe Burrow technically doesn't count. And
Not even close.
Fair.
doesn't
Not even
count.
close.
You know what's funny? There's really not been a dominant, like really good Ohio State quarterback. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody?
Right. Not even
anywhere.
Troy Smith.
No, none of them have
Troy
worked
Smith
out,
was a career backup.
which is a red flag on Justin Fields. And then the other thing that I learned today, and I've been thinking about it, there's only been one really good number 2 overall pick at quarterback. It's Donovan McNabb. Like anybody that's gone number 2, they've either had success right out the gate, like Wentz or RG3, and then they flame. Like who else has been like really good in the 2 hole at quarterback? And it's been a very interesting thing to think about. So just throwing that out there as well for people in the chat, or if y'all want to talk about that. Brandon, I want to argue. Tell me why A&M deserved to make the playoffs.
Did you see the national championship
Get
game?
him, B. Get him, B.
I mean, let's start there. Did you see that? We did that in week 2, and we were not the same team by the end of the season that we were in week 2. And not to mention, that was with a fully healthy Jalen Waddell. I mean, we played a completely different Bama team, and we were still figuring out our identity. I got a little pissed after watching that game because I do feel like we were robbed. Before then, I was kind of content because I was thinking it was going to be more competitive. But afterwards, it's like, yeah, we should have been a 4 seed. But also, I mean, no one really wanted to see a repeat of that week 2. But after seeing last night's game, yeah, we definitely kind of got screwed. Also, I think if you put LSU, Florida, one of those other type blue blood SEC with our exact same resume, they're in without question. So it really does just kind of, kind of stirred me up. But especially when I look at all that we're losing on the offensive line, I mean, that was definitely our strong suit as far as our team. Kellen Mond was a leader, kind of like Dak is with the Cowboys. He definitely led that team, and they follow him, and they'll fight for him through thick and thin. But we're losing 3 offensive linemen: center, guard, tackle. And yeah, it's just like this was a great year for an opportunity for us that now it's just like we got to wait and see what happens next year. So I'm a little pissed, but you know what? I'll be good tomorrow.
Brandon, can I play devil's advocate for a little bit?
Brand's been waiting to pounce for the last.
No. I want to preface this with I feel that you got screwed out of it. I think you warned it. I don't think just because Ohio State got just completely obliterated in the national championship game, they didn't deserve a spot there. But I don't think that the 2 ACC teams needed a spot there. I do think that. With that said, I want to pull off an SEC thing. But they didn't have 2 of their starters on their defensive line. So they could have played a little bit better. I mean, you beat them with
Hey, don't at me with that. Don't
Brandon,
at me
hey,
with
Brandon.
that. I'm not.
You
I'm
know,
on your
SEC
side, dude.
football, it only counts if you're at full strength.
Hey, I'm not even paying attention to this. I'm not even going to delegate that with a
They
response,
robbed you,
y'all.
dude. They robbed you. I'd be pissed too if I was you, Brandon. That was horse shit. Bad.
I wasn't pissed until last night because I was just expecting a more. I mean, for
who
them
are the
getting in, they only
14
played
then?
7 games.
Who were
What's
the
that?
4 teams? Who should have been the 4 teams?
We should have been a 4th team.
No, but who's out? Notre Dame.
I think, of course,
Ohio
Alabama.
State?
I think the way that Notre Dame lost in a championship
gone.
game they should have been gone. Let's be honest. They didn't. They proved that they didn't deserve to be there. I mean, if
agree.
they came and lost
Notre Dame should have
by
been out.
10 or less, I think then you have that argument that said, hey, you know, they lost by 10 or less to a team that just was just dominating. You know, so but they shouldn't. The way that what they put up in the ACC championship game, it's a little bit disrespectful to A&M, and I understand why you're pissed. Because that actually happened in
Completely
Texas a
disrespectful.
long time ago too, where the three-way tie, where we beat Oklahoma to get into the when we beat Oklahoma but lost to Texas Tech on a last-second
Yeah, and the
touchdown.
computers kicked us out.
Yeah, computers.
It came
kicked us
down.
out.
It came down to the computers, and they kicked us out. That's why, you know, F the BCS forever.
Yeah.
Because we would have made 2 back-to-back national championship game appearances, and I think we would have had a good chance to beat that 08 Florida team. I think it was a better matchup for us.
You know, all the trash you two Texas boys just gave Brandon about, if we had people playing and all that. You just said
Next man up. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, golly.
I just said what?
man.
Hold on.
If
Billy,
we wouldn't have get kicked out, we might have beat Florida. That's a lot of woulda, shoulda, coulda.
the woulda, shoulda, coulda is the computer.
Well, we didn't get a chance to play them. That's the thing.
Right.
We're not
Neither
talking
did-
about.
Well,
I
I mean, you also shouldn't have had it. You shouldn't have been that close. I mean, it's kind of like going to Notre Dame. It shouldn't have been that close with the Texas Tech team.
That was the Texas Tech team that was ranked in the top three,
Crabtree?
top
We're
4
good.
teams
That was
in the
Crabtree,
country.
huh?
They
That
only
was like
lost
their
one
best
game.
team. That was their best team
gotcha.
ever.
All right.
They only
I'm
lost
thinking of
one game.
Thinking of a year. Okay, I'm thinking of a
That was
different
the
year.
best
My bad,
team
my bad.
they had in their
Was
history
that
of their
OU
school.
Florida? Is that the
Yeah, it was
OU
OU
Florida.
Florida.
And
That
that was
wasn't a good
also, and OU fans will tell you, because I've heard this argument too. Well, if DeMarco Murray would have played in the national championship
Well, that's
game,
what I was just having a little fun with y'all. You know, that's what I'm
Hey,
getting at.
hey.
It's just fun.
somebody just commented in the chat.
Um,
Somebody jumped in. I didn't even look at it. Somebody was like, "Well, you know, if DeMarco Murray would have played."
hey,
I'm sorry, Tyler.
Texas fans still talking about Colt McCoy, so you know, I know that's a little low blow there, but talking
You
about
had to
what
do
if I always hear about what if Colt McCoy wouldn't have got hurt.
Oh, the national championship game.
Yeah,
What happened, Tyler? You tell me.
The same
same thing, buddy. Same thing.
Same result.
Yep. We'll never know. I
You'll
don't
never know.
All we know is that was your first championship. I mean,
The
it's a part of
argument-
the game. I don't ever play that card because it's a part of the game.
Yeah,
It
it
wasn't
is.
a dirty ass hit or anything like that. He tackled him, and it was just an awkward hit on his shoulder. I mean that happens.
Marcel Darius was a huge guy too.
Yeah, we'll talk about
Just
it now.
like
Why are we
your
running him
boy.
up the gut? Why are we running QB
Right.
power with him right up the gut? So I mean that's
You know,
Greg Davis special.
I want Tyler to one day before we leave this earth to tell me what Nick Saban has done to clone these brothers on the defensive line, because Tyler told me about Barmore like 2 years ago, whatever. We were at your house. We had a conversation. You're like, "Yo, Christian Barmore is the next one, man. It's the next one." And then he balls out last night. I think Tyler, he made himself some money, and because he was unbelievable. And he's had a great season, but you look at him and he looks like every other stereotypical big ass Alabama defensive lineman. And I'm like, is this like the 6th day where y'all are just cloning these brothers? Like, what
Monsters.
what is that? Like,
I don't have an answer for you.
To me, that's
Crazy.
Saban walking in the
Spoken
living room
with
and eating
respect
fruits
and jealousy.
Right.
Right.
Gosh, almighty.
That
I
big
don't know
boy
what
was
it is
rolling.
either.
Hey, he was rolling last night. You see him come off the sideline. He was high energy every play. I'm like,
every play.
good Lord, get you some, big boy. Get that money.
You
'cause
did
that's
make
what
him some money last night.
Oh yeah, he was good.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping somebody. Yeah, we're getting there at our D line. Like, we're just now getting to that type of size, though. Texas fans, like, we got Coburn,
A&M too.
Sweat's big. Like, it's taken us some time to build up some of that beef. I think we're still doing it now. Alfred Collins is massive. Tran and I got to see him up close
And
at the
athletic.
Alamo Bowl. Yeah,
And
That
athletic.
was a very athletic play that he made. In Alamo
Yeah,
Bowl.
he made You Got Mossed for that.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
Get it, big
We
fella.
we got the beef back too, though, baby. I don't know if you've seen the big boys.
Yeah.
The big boys at LSU. We got the whole squad.
Y'all got the
back.
beef over there?
I'm just
Yeah, the
saying, you
squad
saw what
is
A&M's
back.
what we relied upon was our offensive and defensive line. That's because we got some beef on the defensive line. We lose
Yeah,
Bobby
okay.
Brown, and to me, hey, go get your money, take care of your mother. I understand that, but we still got Peavy, we still got DeMarvin Leal. We got some big boys up there.
I like DeMarvin. I like Jalen Jones too in your secondary. Great players.
Oh yeah, he grew so much. I mean, you want to talk about getting cooked? He got cooked by Waddell, and he bounced back phenomenally.
I like where he's headed, man. You guys
Me
got
too.
some things going. LOL at everybody in the comments that's accusing these Alabama boys of PEDs. They said they on that juice.
Straight
They
to
might
the
be,
vein.
dude.
They
They
on
might
that
be,
juice.
Hey,
They
I wouldn't be
might.
surprised.
They
If you
said
have hate
Bama-
in
Be
your heart,
surprised if
let
we
it
hear
out.
something like
You gotta
that
hang your
on
heart, let it
Saban's deathbed.
They said Bama got
Success
the best
breeds hate.
success pre-tape. All right.
It's
Let's
true.
Let's move on. Let's
Yeah.
move on to
Oh,
the
yeah.
next. I want to move on to the next argument, and y'all know what it is. I don't know who wants to go first about 29. And I'm sure y'all have had
I'll
this
go on mute and
conversation.
just enjoy this.
And let's just talk about it because I think it is a fun conversation considering that Alabama this year offensively eclipsed. I never thought I'd see it. They eclipsed some of the per game and efficiencies that LSU put up just last season. So 2019 LSU versus 2020 Bama. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. So I don't really like these conversations. First of all, let me just start with that because every year is different, especially this year. This is the most different year we've ever had.
Absolutely.
There's nothing like this year. So to compare the champion from this year to any other year, it's a tough task. Now, with that said, since they were back-to-back years, we can say this is somewhat the same era. The game is ever evolving, but personally, I think that would be a game that comes down to the last play. I know that's a diplomatic answer, but I'm not going to sit here and say we're the best of all time, and I'm not going to say, man, we would lose, because I don't think it would be like that. I think you have two teams that showed, improved. They have the heart of champions, and they had that extra it factor, going for them. And I don't think either one would back down. Who's stopping who on defense? I don't really see anyone stopping anyone there in that game. So you're not going to get a straight answer out of me on this, but much respect to LSU from 2019, not taking anything away from that team, and I think we staked our claim to be in that conversation this year. Mute.
My bad. I don't know why I got stuck on mute. Billy, before you go, I want to say something. There's a lot of people. So we're like almost, I'm looking at the chat. It's like 50-50 right now between Bama and LSU. It's very interesting. I do want to say, guys, I'm just comparing these two teams because y'all are my friends and y'all are on here and y'all are the two most recent champions. I'm not saying that y'all are like the best champion ever or anything. I'm not talking about 0-1 Miami or anything like that. We're just talking about these two teams in a lens. Billy, go ahead.
I think that first of all, what Alabama did was obviously off the charts impressive. I made the joke earlier when we were getting online. Y'all really had to go do this year and try to show us up, right? Like that. Because I see greatness. I know when teams are good, and that was amazing. I think if you go and you look at the rosters, they're a lot alike. You got a quarterback who makes good decisions, who can get the ball where it needs to be. You got athletes open in space. You got a running game you can count on to catch or run it. Defenses that they'll give up some big plays, but they have playmakers. I think on the offensive side, We probably had one more receiver than they did. I think everything else is wash. On the defensive side, I actually thought the D line for Alabama got much better throughout the year. They might have had us there. I like our linebackers though, even though they have Moses and the other cat. They're good too, and maybe those are pushes. And then the secondary is kind of almost the same. You know, I mean, I think maybe we had a tad more, one more talent in the secondary. If I'm going to look at it and just break everything down, maybe not. Maybe it's a push on defense, but it's that close if you really looking at it. And do I think we would win? Yeah, I mean, so would Tyler. I mean, that's what he's saying. I do believe it would be a hell of a game. I mean, you saw a very similar game last year in Tuscaloosa, even though we got a big lead. Like that game and with those two teams, it didn't matter if they were down. I don't feel like they were coming for you. And you're gonna have to score points. And like Tyler said, I don't know who's gonna stop who, to be honest with you, because good Lord. I mean, the play call and the schemes were top notch.
Good point. Joe Brady versus Sark.
Yeah, I mean, it was
both in their bags.
It was unbelievable, and it's crazy to see it. You know, like I said earlier, joking about it, but it's true because it was impressive. I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due, and you know, obviously, I hang my hat with the Tigers, and that's kind of what I think. I mean, I look at it; it really is lines up. I mean, it's close. You know, if you really, I mean, it's fun. It's a fun comparison.
So I want to go to Brandon because Brandon, you played both of these teams. So you saw, you know, you got your block beat in by both. No disrespect.
Rude. First of all, completely.
We only played 2019 LSU. It was very, very good game. Unfortunately, y'all were on the wrong side of revenge from the 7 overtime game that y'all made T-shirts for. So that's what happened. I mean,
hey, that was just our first time beating them, and we faced one of the best teams ever in college football. So I have no ill will towards them for putting it on us like that. I was kind of expecting it. Once I saw Burrow come out with the whole Louisiana spelling of it, I was like, yeah, we're done.
With the 4K camera.
Game over, bro.
Y'all were done.
I was like, this ain't gonna be good for us.
Put a fork in them, Tran. They're done.
But to me, this is a game who has the ball last. I mean, both defenses, either who has the ball last or who comes up with the most turnovers, which I couldn't tell you. Both defenses had opportunistic players with, Stingley in his form and Fulton in his form. Alabama this year, I don't think their defense was as good, but they caused a lot of turnovers. They fly around everywhere. They still have playmakers. I mean, we're just talking about Barmore, like Duke and Ball. Like, to me, it's a game with those two teams who either has the ball last or who creates the most turnovers, who's the most opportunistic, because otherwise I don't see either one of them stopping them.
I do think one difference in the way these two offenses went about scoring points, I think we relied a little bit more on the strength of our offensive line, where Mac Jones isn't necessarily a mobile guy, where, Joe Burrow, you remember some of the plays last year, he's running for his life and, making guys miss and trucking guys and throwing it. It looked a little, that's why Joe Burrow kind of has the aura behind him, is because of the style that he played last year. I think our offensive line is a little stronger, and I think Joe Burrow is a little better. So I think at the end of the day, it kind of evens out, and you see the numbers, how it played out. I mean, they couldn't be any closer. So
I would actually give the running back edge to Alabama. I know Clyde had a great year and ended up being a first-round pick, but I don't think Clyde was better than Najee wire to wire. Honestly, like I don't think he was, and so I would give the edge to and I think Clyde got hurt in the SEC championship game against, or was it the playoff game?
Playoff.
OU.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, and so y'all are running with Curry. So I would give the running back edge there, but then the quarterback edge, I know how much you feel about Mac Jones, Billy, but I'd actually give y'all the edge with Joe Burrow.
Well, yeah, I agree.
because of the
I agree.
mobility. The interesting thing though is the defense, because I do have Stingley, Fulton, Delpit, Corey Stevens. Like, that's a really good group when y'all finally got it together at the end of the year. Because
Patrick
y'all, I
Queen
mean,
too.
Patrick Queen, I mean,
And Kerry.
and
And Kerry that decided to
Kerry,
opt
yeah,
out this
Kerry
year.
Vincent
God
Jr. Like, they gave Clemson,
upset
like, that
me.
was a good Clemson team they beat. That was a
They
really
were
good
good.
Clemson team. So, I'm with y'all. It's tough. I would personally give the edge to 2019 LSU. Tran, I know you want to weigh in here as well, but my edge would be 2019 LSU.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, we kind of went over this yesterday, and
Right.
you know, you broke it down almost exactly what I would say, but I would never bet against Joe Burrow. I don't know why. He just has that he just has that it factor. Thinking back on it, you know, Tyler brought up a point about Jones, him getting lit up on his first game. It just made me think about how did Joe Burrow win over this team, and it goes back to the UCF game where he got through a pick six and he got a dirty hit on him, and he got back up, and he got back up, and he got in everyone's face, and he just won over the team. So you know, both of them are actually more similar than I remembered, to tell you the truth. But I can't bet against Joe Burrow for some reason. It's just like he's even doing it when he was healthy. He was even doing some magical stuff in the NFL as well for the Bengals out of all teams.
Well, there are some
Same
people
argument could be
saying
made with
the
Saban.
coaching edge. Yeah, the Saban,
Yeah, exactly.
Saban
I
over
mean,
Coach O.
What you're saying about Burrow can easily be said about Saban. Like, why would you bet against that guy?
It's true.
You know, because I agree with you with Burrow. That was magical. Even when they played y'all, and Steve, I know we debated, you know, that blitzing from Iraq that Todd Orlando
On
did. To me, it was the right call.
17.
Yeah, it was the right call, because if you
It
look at
was
the
not
play
the
that
right
Burrow
call.
had, you look at the play that Burrow made on that. He had to throw the ball in the air, and he threw a dot. Like, that's just, it's kind of like going back to what Tran said against LSU when they were viewing Kellen Monz's on the ground. Those type of plays don't happen without a reason. I mean, you call a great blitz, you get there. He has to make an even better play.
Bro, we had just sent the Heat the play before.
If it wasn't 3rd and 17,
we had 4 people in coverage.
To me, it wasn't the fact that you blitzed. It was the fact that he's blitzing from 12 yards back. Get on the line and blitz.
Yeah.
That way they know it's coming. It's like, why are you blitzing from 12 yards? Put 7 men straight across, 4 deep. Hey, they're going to have to, you know, rally and make a tackle.
I would have
okay
given him 10 yards underneath. Hey, you go ahead and hit it, Clyde, wide open. And then if we don't tackle Clyde, we deserve to lose.
Take the ball. Yeah.
Because
and I understand the same side, because if you rush 3, you drop 8. I mean, yeah, it's likely. But hey, if those 3 don't get there and people got time to move around, the same thing could happen. I mean, we could easily be having this debate.
We've been arguing about this one play for how many months? It's crazy.
I love it.
I think that if you look at it like going into the play, blitzing on 3rd and 17 from, you know, whatever, 8+ yards, it's not smart. But if you look at the result, it got there, and it made him have to make a literally perfect throw.
Oh, he did. He left his feet.
He stepped up, left his feet, and made it.
I think Brandon has an angle there that he had to make the, you know, obviously before the play, calling the blitz. I agree, it's terrible. Seeing the result, it put pressure on him and made him have to make a decision. Unfortunately, he can handle making those decisions.
I'm going to deal with some pain and rewatch that whole game and see how many times we went to 0 blitz against Joe Burrow. And if we did it, if we did it 6 times that game, I'm going to say it's a terrible call.
At this point, that game should not bring you any pain. You got to move forward from that.
I will not move forward.
Why is everybody talking about Kellen Mond so much? Oh, let's have another debate, impromptu. Who's going to have a better NFL career, Kellen Mond or Sam Ehlinger?
What teams do they land on?
Great. That's a great question, too.
What positions
to me
play?
that?
Yo, the disrespect.
That was rude.
The disrespect.
I almost went.
Tyler, that was so mean to us. to me and Brandon.
What
Damn.
position do
And
they play?
Trans.
That's
What
That's
position
rude.
do they play?
I thought we were SEC brethren. Guess not.
Wow.
Fullback,
Those-
tight end.
That was probably the most disrespectful thing you've ever said in our entire friendship. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't see Sam
They about to ball
being
out
what
at the
Blake
Senior
Bell
Bowl.
is.
Well, I mean,
Oh yeah.
that's what we're both
I
hoping.
mean, I don't know. I would love to say Kellen Mond, but if he's on a team where he's throwing 30 times a game, it's not going to happen. I mean, I saw that with A&M. Sometimes his release point is high. Sometimes he holds on to the ball too much. What he didn't do that he started doing this year more of was using his legs. His sophomore season, he used his legs a lot. First read's not there. Second read not there. All right, I'm going to be an athlete. Make a play. He did that well. It seemed like, last year he kind of regressed into, I have to find an open receiver. I have to stay in the pocket. This year he did a good blend. I mean, I can remember Mississippi State. He used his legs on a 3rd and 10, got a first down, kept the chains moving. We ended up scoring on that with a pass to Weidemeyer. Like this year, he definitely was more dynamic of an athlete, but he's not a great pocket passer. He's a very good student of the game. I mean, hearing the conversations him and
I
Jimbo
agree.
have, he's a very good student of the game. So I think that can definitely help him. But it's just, where does he land? What system is he in? What do they expect out of him? To me, Sam's a competitor. He reminds me of a Tebow. He's a competitor. He's a winner. He's just one of those guys that the team's going to fight and win for. To me, I want to see, is he completely healthy? Because to me, his shoulder is definitely an issue. I don't know. I mean, I would love to say Kellen Mond, but to me, it's just, hey, where do these guys land? What system do they in? Who's coaching them?
Gotta answer the question, Brandon.
I mean, I'm gonna go Kellen Mond. I'm gonna go Kellen Mond, but I mean, if Kellen Mond ends up in a shitty situation, it could be 1-2 years, and then he's coaching like Kellen Moore.
He could be a GA assistant, real
Any
real
one
fast.
of these quarterbacks can end up in one of those situations and just be holding a clipboard. So,
But hey, look, it's worked out well for Kellen Moore, and hearing the type of student that Kellen Mond is, I wouldn't be surprised.
I just want to say that, we broke over 200 likes, so thank you guys. Really, really appreciate it. 242 that are still in here. We're gonna wrap in a couple minutes, but this has been a it's been a fun, spirited debate. I am so ashamed of my brothers and sisters in this chat who have been also shitting on Sam Ellinger about the position. Where's your loyalty, people? How are y'all agreeing with Tyler about what position he's gonna play? It's a damn shame. Turned on our own man. Tran, I know you'll defend our guy.
No disrespect, but with that, look, I think he could be a fine NFL player, but look, he's a Taysom Hill kind of guy, right? He's not going to be a
Taysom Hill went to
starting
4-4.
NFL quarterback.
please don't bring
right?
that name up around us.
That's right. He ran all over him.
Oh my goodness.
Didn't he hit y'all for a couple hundred?
Two times.
Yeah,
He just like
2
hit
times.
us with jabs left and right.
He got Manny Diaz fired.
Yeah, he did. I was about to say, didn't he?
He got people fired.
I'll chirp in. I actually think Sam's going to benefit from getting away from Tom Herman. I think that if you can go with the organization, I do believe he has some intangibles that are in there. I don't believe that he progressed. I do believe Kellen Mond progressed. I do believe he is a student of the game. His decision-making at times will make you scratch your head big time. I do think Sam as well. I think I could see both of them as backups, just, depending if they can make some throws. I think the Senior Bowl are they both playing in the Senior Bowl?
Yep.
Good. I usually take those practices and always get a little, I want to see them throw some, on some 7-7s when they do that. And it just kind of, I want to see Kellen Mond. I think Brandon make a great point with his release point. I think it's at times either lazy or he just can't find it. And Sam, I can't explain the fella. I think he just needs to get away from Tom Herman. That's kind of my explanation on it. And obviously in the right situation, but if I was picking, Lord, I don't know. I guess.
Billy, I think you made 2 points that are making me think right now. First off, Mark, talking about Sam's going to be hosting on LHN in a couple years. The disrespect.
Damn, man.
I can't with y'all
Damn.
in the chat. I can't with y'all tonight, man. Our
Oh,
own
man, that's
people,
good.
Tran. Our own people. You hate to see it. Billy, I think your point
Hate
about
to
the
see it.
coaching in college is valid. About Sam being exclusively with Tom Herman, Kellen Moore, exclusively with Jimbo Fisher, right? I mean, I know you started with Sumlin, but Jimbo Fisher was the one that I think Jimbo Fisher is at this point a better developer, at least at the collegiate level with the quarterbacks than Tom Herman. I know Tom Herman's had some success, but we had the Tim Beck thing, we had the Mike Yursich thing. He kept having to flip schemes and play callers and what he was supposed to do. I do think that hurt Sam. And I do think if he ends up in a situation where there's some continuity and he can, just kind of, learn from somebody else and be in a different environment, I do think I think there's some upside there to be had for Sam, but I'll let Tran add to that.
So it's not the work ethic with Sam. It's the mechanics at this point. I mean, he doesn't have a very strong NFL arm. He the work ethic. He'll be in the room. He'll be the first one there, last one to leave. Throw as many as he can, but it's he's limited. Let's be honest, and it's not something that you could just work on and just get better and just get a 60 yard arm. So will he make a team? Will he make a 53? Yes, I think so. Will Kellen Mond make a team? Yes, I think they both will. If we're talking about longevity wise, I agree with Billy that they're both career backups. I don't think that if we're talking about who's going to have the most success on a team, I mean, what do we define as success? How many games they actually end up starting? If that's the case, I'm going to go with Kellen Mond on it, honestly.
Yeah, how do you define it? It's a great thing. Because
I
I
think
can
you
tell
win
you,
that one.
I see if you put Ellinger in a system like New Orleans, it's more of a West Coast system. They don't make many passes over 20 yards, and they're very efficient at it. I think that's something Ellinger can do. He can also probably extend plays. You put Kellen Mond somewhere where he doesn't have to do too much, and he can just be a quarterback, a game manager, an athlete. I think he has great success. But I do agree that they're probably both backups, and once they get an opportunity, if they do get an opportunity as a backup, then we'll see at that point how things land.
Well said. Well said. Guys, any parting shots you want to add in here before we sign off? We're at 107 right now. I just want to make sure
Clear,
everybody
Rob.
said.
Tyler, how do you think Sark's going to do at Texas?
I wish him the best. I wish Texas the best with him. I think you know what? I think he's going to do a great job recruiting, and I think it's going to be a fresh look for their offense. And if I had to guess, I think they'll be a little bit better than they are now. Hopefully a 9-3, 10-2 kind of program moving forward that has a shot to be in the mix.
It's interesting because I think the difference between being that program, like you're saying, Todd, because you're being honest, you're not a cheerleader for Sark, but you're also like he's not a back. You're skeptical of him as a head coach, is your biggest thing, and I respect that. I think for him, it's who's going to be the defensive coordinator. That's the big unknown and variable because that person's also going to kind of help set culture on the team because our defense was playing really well at the end of the season, and Chris Ash was almost like another head coach on our team who's I think might head to Florida.
Is he coming back? I heard he might be an option.
They said he's going to meet with Sark again, and they may. I don't know what's going to happen. I know the guy from Mississippi State was supposed to meet with LSU. I don't have you guys haven't.
He's not.
We didn't offer him.
How come y'all didn't get Marcus Freeman? How come y'all didn't get Marcus Freeman, Billy? You didn't have enough you didn't cook the books enough?
Well, I
Bag
think
man
that
wasn't carrying enough.
the mama says we got 6 kids. This is where we're kind of raised them, and we're from. We're staying. That's what the word on the street was. At least.
Really?
Yeah, that his
Okay.
wife was like, we can move if you're going to be the head coach. Yes, I understand. But if you're taking a lateral move and Notre Dame's here, that probably makes a little bit more sense. So, which I agree.
Thank you for that information. I didn't know that. Okay.
That's the word on the street, But I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense. And when I heard that myself, I was like, oh, okay, that's actually a good decision. I think for him, you never know. Hell, he might be the head coach in 2 years. Yeah, I mean, somewhere in the SEC or where. I mean, it's just that's the true possibility to it, and we'll see. I don't know where we're headed next. We might just get Corey Raymond at this point. I think he'll, get some good coaches
There you
behind
go.
him.
I want to see Corey Raymond get a shot for real.
I don't know if he even wants it. A lot of people. There's not. You don't really hear too much from him discussing wanting to be the D coordinator, and yeah, he allegedly wants to interview and do, but I don't know. That's always kind of puzzled me too. To be honest, I wish I could explain it or know more, but I don't know if he's not his favorite thing, the way he likes his DBs, and that's what he likes doing in recruiting, or I don't know. But I think at this point, it's something we really need to evaluate. If we decide that, I like it. Coach O, you're just going to have to do a little more D-line coaching. Like at that point, you bring in people to surround them, and we go forward. I mean, there's knowledge of the defense there, so put the pieces together. If the best fit is to bring Corey up, let's go.
Do you like that Joe Brady's friend that you hired for your
Pete?
offensive coordinator position?
Pistol Pete? His last name's Pete, I believe. I mean, you know how it is in situations like that.
He put on his friend. I mean, he got to. Yeah, he put on his friend. I mean,
it happens all the time.
Yeah,
we'll see if it works.
Right.
He's got to be better than Scott Linehan.
Can't be worse.
Trash.
But-
Cowboys and
Basura. Yeah.
Like he ruined two of my teams.
Yeah, bro.
Ain't that the worst when somebody sucks with your pro team and your college team? That's like a special place on the list.
I'll be honest. I didn't think that. I thought Ensminger should have came back. I thought our offense did fine considering maybe he wants to kind of take a step back, and that's cool. But he's going to still be around, so we still have that voice.
I think Ensminger is going to end up being an analyst or consultant. I just don't think.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, like the day-to-day stuff.
Right. I think he's tired of it. He wants to kind of just, hey, look, what's our offensive scheme look like? Let me coach. Let me just get in here and look at plays and give you all the information you need, and y'all go from there. I don't want to chase recruits.
So here's a question I have. I mean, I've mentioned that it kind of comes down with Texas with their DC and that staff, and you just mentioned that it's really pivotal to Steve. So this is really to Steve and Tran. Who's your top target for DC if you had your pick?
Tran, go.
If I had my pick
of eligible coaches,
keep Ash. I want continuity, and I think if we keep Ash, we'll keep Hutzler. And I thought he did a phenomenal job with our linebackers.
Coleman Hutzler was our best coach on the team. If you factor in recruiting, in-season development, and production, in my opinion.
We've also seen how much it affects these young men on switching coaches left and right. Well, at least from a Texas perspective, the constant churn. It really does affect them. I mean, so I want to keep them. If not, I want someone who was a head coach before, who understands how to coach against certain offenses as a defensive coordinator. So I'm a big Muschamp guy.
Coach Boom.
Yeah, if we got him, I think we have a chance of keeping Hutzler as well, because he coached for him at South Carolina, and I know he's a big time gap assignment coach, and he will make sure that our defensive line has an attitude to them, and that's the only thing that I wish that Keandre Coburn would do is get mad, because that guy's Brandy. You saw him at the game. You're like,
Yeah, he's a big
that
boy.
is a big boy.
That's
The big
see
boy.
that right there. What you're talking about, because he's already a really good player, but that's the
Yeah.
difference between him and Christian Barmore,
Uh-huh.
where you become that ferocious person.
If he
That's
gets
the
mad, someone
slight-
gets hurt.
Yes,
type of thing.
yes, where he can get to that level.
We would have
I'm
got Muschamp, I think, if we would have not retreaded Pelini last year. So that I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're not retreading again on the defensive side, so that ain't happening.
no sir. Guys, thank y'all for joining the round table. Trey, you got to talk because I'm about to choke.
Thank you for joining the roundtable. Don't forget to hit the likes. Make sure you share all of our stuff on it. Social media.
Hook us up, man. Hook them up.
Hey, you need some water, Steve? You good?
You all right, bro?
But bottles out, man.
Hey, you need to have like a
that
little
much.
button for breathe.
Oh man. Man, Trey, you did a fabulous job, brother.
You made me laugh. He's
Oh,
sitting there
Tyler-
choking, and everyone's like, "Steve, you okay?"
Maybe. Gotta get that
some
last
water
little
now.
bit.
Yeah, we're getting some water.
Oh
Right.
boy. Tyler, congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank you
congrats.
Congrats,
Oh, man.
man.
Thank you, fellas.
Brandon,
way to
I'm
hold it
sorry,
down for the
bro. Y'all
SEC.
got screwed, dude. Y'all got screwed. That was highway
did.
rivalry. I'd be pissed.
We did. I mean,
Cool.
I'll be good tomorrow once this conversation's done with. But yeah, we were robbed. They stole it right out of
I
our
told
pocket.
Tyler. I think A&M's
Hey, that's a
better
big
than Ohio
violin
State,
there,
too.
Steve. You need to get a little smaller.
Oh golly.
I still never
Hey,
heard
keep
your
that.
DC pick. I still never heard your DC pick, Steve. Who would you want?
Oh, I would keep Ash. I was
Oh, okay.
surprised. Tran surprised me because I thought Tran was going to leave with Muschamp because I know how much he loves Coach Boom.
Mm.
But no, I'm with him on that, on keeping Ash, especially with the way things have played out now. I really like Marcus Freeman. He impressed me in that Georgia game. He's impressed me all year, but in that the Cincinnati Georgia game, they held Georgia up in the second half. Cincinnati just didn't score. They didn't score a single point.
They had no offense, yeah.
They had no offense in that second half. But even to force Georgia on the last drive to kick, that kid made like a 55-yarder to walk off.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Like, you know what I mean? Like but they held up. Like they were like, bro, if you're gonna kick 55 to beat us, beat us. All right.
So be it. Yep.
I respect that. That was good defense. So I really like what Marcus Freeman, and I think he's going to do a good job at Notre Dame. I think he's soon to be a head coach somewhere. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, Brandon, I mean, you guys had a fantastic year at Texas A&M.
Oh yeah, we're not.
And
gonna
the
hang our
recruiting
heads
class, in 2021 reflects that. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of these kids that understand ball and want to go play for a physical school, and I think it validated. It hasn't been fully validated the money y'all spent on Jimbo, but the point is you got your guy. And a lot of people made fun of y'all for it, especially the way the contract was set up, but y'all said you didn't care.
I made fun of us. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Until this season, I was like, "Well, we paying this dude $75 million guaranteed." But he's got his guys in. He's recruiting well. He's recruiting in the trenches so well, and that's to me been the biggest surprise because that's just something. I mean, we do get hits. I mean, we got Von Miller, Demontre Moore. Like we've had hits on the edge, but we've never had like a full defensive line that could stuff the run like we have. I mean, usually we'd be a
Right.
team that gives up 200 yards rushing and like 150 passing. Now it's kind of inverse, but we're going to slow you down on the run. You're not going to run us, but we're going to impose our will on you on the offensive line.
The question I have for y'all, and it's kind of the same thing with us. For us, Casey Thompson, Hudson Card, is the arm talent going to be an improvement over the previous person? And for you guys, right, same thing.
James King, Calzada.
King, Calzada, and Eli. Is there going to be an upgrade of arm talent to where we take advantage on the perimeter? Because that's been what, like, they had a Joe Burrow, Tyler had Mac Jones, and he had Tua before. Like, they had people that could just touch you from any point on the field, and that's kind of the difference why we haven't been at that level, in my opinion. Part of the reason, but for you in particular, I think if y'all had a little bit more dynamic of that, then maybe you don't get blown out by Alabama and the committee thinks differently. Who knows? So,
I mean, look at this Bama team this year. It's tough not to get blown out. They did it to a lot of people, but I agree. And Hanks King, I do see him more. I mean, he kind of follows that Hurts model. He's a coach's kid, a great athlete, and he's played that position all his life. We'll see what he does from the pocket if he is a precision passer. If he can make the tough throws.
He better start the next 3 years. I'll tell you that.
I said he fits that mold. I didn't say he's Hurts. I said he fits that mold of being a good athlete. Good athlete, strong arm, coach's son. So he has that leadership quality. He has the development. It's just, hey, how does that translate under Jimbo?
I liked him. A couple of flashes he got to play. I thought he had some talent. You got to moving forward.
I liked him too. I think. And in a couple of flashes, hey, his first 2 reads weren't there. All right, I'm gonna move the ball on my legs. Right. Get 4 or 5. Get down. All right, we're moving the ball. I'll take that. Now, does he elevate from that as he gets more reps? I hope so. And if he does that, then yeah, I think we do become more dangerous, especially if we can see guys like Damon come off, get some playing time. And then we still have our switchblade and Anaya Smith. We have a stable of running backs with A-Kane coming out of nowhere, winning the MVP of the Orange Bowl.
Shout out to A-Kane, because that's going to be the reason why we end up getting LJ Johnson. You come over here, you actually gonna play at Texas. You ain't gonna play behind all those brothers.
You got Bijan. Don't even trip. You got Bijan. So you acting like
we got room for more, baby.
We got room for more too. Hey, you can never have too many RBs. LJ. Look at Bama. Look at the running back room at Bama and tell me you don't have room. So I don't want to hear that. Come run behind them Maroon Goons. That's what you want to do.
You just lost 3 of them.
Hey, and we replaced them with 3. We got the Mountain coming in. We got Foster coming in. We got Ruben Fothery and Strickland. Man, Strickland, he needs to be like a bodybuilder and something after football. That dude's jacked.
Hey, y'all want to talk about PEDs at Bama? Some of these high school kids, I want to see. They need to be tested on the spot.
Oh yeah, some of
these kids look bigger than the NFL players, man. Come on.
They might be. On.
It was fun, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it for real. We've wrapped like 7 times, as we always do. It's a tradition on the channel. Everybody that came in here, hit the like button, 225. We really, really appreciate it. If I missed your donation, I think Matthew Miller sent a donation. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Everybody that's in here, David, Candace, Mark, Lance, Dustin, all the usual suspects that make this even more fun to do and hang out with you guys. I will have a Sark video drop later tonight, just with some quick thoughts on the presser. Guys,
Sark after dark.
Sark after dark. Tran and I are going to throw our horns up. Congrats, Tyler, Billy.
Congrats, Tyler.
Brandy, and thank y'all for being here. I'm shutting this thing down. Hold for a sec.